All right, what is up? Welcome back to thAmeshow. I am your host, Paul Kelley, and I am back. It's been a long, over 2.5 years, I believe, since my last episode. And on my last episode, I was talking about I was moving. I don't know where. I just want to go across the country, like to Florida or something like that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to document the whole thing and do this and do that. Well, my phone broke. That was my only recording device at the time after I left, and it was been quite an adventure since I've been gone. I can take you back a little bit. When I was making my last episode, I was talking about moving away and going I don't know where. I was currently at that time in Reno, Nevada. It's like northern Nevada, the most like northern city in Nevada. And I was living in a weekly motel. I was a life insurance agent. And I was a life insurance agent because of the COVID lockdowns. I wasn't getting any money. My job was shut down. So I was like, oh, I'm working from home. It was a cool job. But as much of like a loner as I am, working from home just wasn't for me. I had like no social life at all. So like a year of working from home, I was like, hey, I know I just started this podcast, but I'm about to dip up out of here. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I got like $3,500 in my pocket. I'm just going to travel the country and figure it out from there. And cause I mean, my life has been, I've had, a lot of different jobs, living in a lot of different cities. I was born in Ventura, California. I lived in Vegas for a while, lived in Arizona for a while, Laughlin for a while, Reno for a while. And currently now, after all that, I'm in St. Pete, Florida. And I was already lived in Tampa for like 2 years before getting to St. Pete. And so that's me. That's Paul. I'm Paul Kelley, 35 years old, male, strong as an ox. And, I'm just out here getting it. So that's where I left you guys off at. And what happened was, if you want to go down memory lane with me a little bit, after I left driving, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go to Florida. I got like 3,500. I'm dipping to Florida. So I'm like on my way to Florida. I might as well stop by my mom's house in Vegas because it was like I could take that route and see my mom. So I go hit Vegas. I see my mom. I'm like, what's up? Yeah, I'm just traveling on, I'm just going to Florida. I don't know. Well, that was around Thanksgiving. This is like 2021, I believe. This is around Thanksgiving. And my uncle was in Vegas at the time. So I was like, he hit me up like, hey, come, spend Thanksgiving some time with the family over here. He's in Vegas. I was like, all right. Pulled up on them. Him and his friends and family ended up getting me a job doing security systems installation. So I was like a security systems professional. And I was doing the training for that. I was like a few weeks in. I had like $10,000 worth of security cameras, like, Ring cameras and house security systems and things like that. And it was just like a whole nother learning curve after I just got done doing life insurance. So I was like, man, I don't even really feel like doing this, even though that is like a 10K a month type of job. So I talked to my homie. He's like, hey, if you don't want to do that, he was about to dip off to do some crab fishing out of Alaska. And, he invited me to just go do that with him. And that's just physical labor versus like the whole mental thing of like learning a new trade and this and that. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm down to go do some fishing out of Alaska. I returned my $10,000 worth of equipment. Kind of felt bad about that. Hey, it wasn't for me. So I take off to Alaska. Boom. Hit Anchorage with my boy, met up with him in like Oregon or something like that. We took off to Anchorage, Alaska. Then we was like, that was a crazy just getting from Alaska or from Anchorage to Dutch Harbor, Alaska. That in itself, it was like we were living in the airport for like 6 days. They're getting snowstorms, couldn't leave. Finally get to Dutch Harbor, Alaska. I mean, I got off the boat and immediately saw like 6 bald eagles. This shit was crazy. And I mean, I could even show you a little bit of what I had going on up there. So like, this is the fishing boat, covered in ice in the middle of the Barents Sea, right there in between Alaska and like Russia, the Barents Sea. It's like the crazy sea, like that got crazy storms and all that. And I was in I did that for about 3 months. Right here. Well, this is my boy, one of my coworkers. I don't know who the fuck that he was. That motherfucker actually never worked. He was a piece of shit. There's me right there doing labor, working. And then, this is kind of a cool little video, kind of show you a little bit about, the fish sliding back because the boat's rocking. That's my homie just recording the workers. And then I got my headphones on. I'm over here like, hey, going stupid, bro. Like I'm working, dancing, you know how I do. So that was like 3 months of like 16 hours, 7 days a week. It was like straight go time, hammer time with that shit. And I mean, anybody who ever seen like The Deadliest Catch, I guess, I never really watched it myself. You're doing 16 hours of this right here, just straight busting crabs open, pardon my language for that, but taking the legs off, throwing them, hit the next one, bust the body off real quick, knock the. So it was, did that in Alaska for about 3.5 months. Not to digress too much, there's a big ass octopus that we accidentally caught. Here's like a little ocean. This is like a regular day right here. This wasn't like a storm or anything. The storms are crazy. You couldn't get out there and really record with your phone during the storms. And so that's what I did for like 3 months. Then I get back. This is after I left my last episode. This is after that last episode. So telling that story. So I hit Alaska for like 3 months, went back to Vegas. I hit my mom up like, hey, I'm gonna come back to your house for a little bit just to recover from this job. I got some money coming in, so I'll be able to, handle myself. Just let me come recoup. So I, 33 years old at the time, 32, 33. Going back to my mom's house, I was like, oh, but I stacked some dough. I was just recovering. It took like a month to recover. I mean, every joint in the body was hurting. That was just like an intense recovery. Like I couldn't even move. I felt like I was like 85 years old or something. I was just like, damn, bro, I feel frail. And then, so I get back to Vegas, chill for like 2-3 weeks. I'm kind of posted, playing the game, getting high, just spending my little check. It wasn't even much, like, because crab fishing ain't money like it used to be, where you get like $10,000 a trip. It was like $3,500, $4,000 per trip. So, posted on that for like 3 weeks, and I got a job bartending in Vegas down there, and I was just doing my thing for like 6-7 months, and I picked up like just different skills. That was really where I learned how to like be a bartender, where you're having like all these different customers, like clientele from all over the world, because it was in Vegas in the middle of the mall. So I had just like people from like Switzerland and like China and Africa and like Czechoslovakia. Like I meet people from everywhere, and I'm really like an outgoing kind of person, really friendly. I like to talk to people and engage and crack some jokes and make them smile. Like I'm really good. My bartender skills are like pretty up there with like guest services, and then my mixology is pretty well. I could even do some flair if you want to see a little bit of flair that I got going. Like this was in Vegas. My boss was just like, hey, make a video of you bartending. I was like, okay. So I had one of the customers. I was like, hey, can you just record me real quick? This is called the magnet pour. Bow. Yeah. And so I just recorded a little. I was like, I don't know. This is just all the tricks that I picked up over the last like 10 years of doing this, being a barback bartender. So I was in Vegas for like 8-9 months. And then all of a sudden I had like 4 days off in a row at my job. So I was like, hey, I'm about to take a trip to Florida, see if I want to move there, because I always wanted to move there. That's originally where I was going during this whole charade anyway. And I even tried to move to Florida like 10 years ago on some fluke shit that didn't work. So I'm like, do I want to go to Miami? Do I want to go to Tampa? And I'm thinking like, man, I'm already in my 30s. Like I did the Vegas thing already. I used to hustle on the strip in Vegas, getting people whatever they needed, nightclub passes, limo runs to strip clubs, party favors, like you name it. I was Obama out there on the boulevard in Vegas. You can ask about me out there, boy. I was heavy in Vegas. Then, so I was like, man, let me go check out Tampa. It's probably still got some cool bartending jobs out there where I can make some cool money, but it's not so crazy. Like I don't need to, be leaving work looking at people fucking banging their heads in their BMW, fucking, EDM, coke, like crazy. So take off to Tampa. That was pretty fun when I was on vacation here. Ended up talking to some bartender who was like, oh, it's this girl. She's like, oh, I told her what I was doing there, at the airport, and I had like 4 hours to kill. She's like, oh, if you're looking for a roommate, I actually know someone who's looking for a roommate right now out here. So I looked at the pictures on her phone and I'm like, oh, damn, that's actually like a dope ass house. It's got like a pool in the backyard, like a bar, like tiki hammocks and all this. Is like a nice house. I was like, all right. So seemed okay. I was waiting on it was crazy because I was waiting on my flight to get back to Vegas, have my headphones on. Then I wait in line, get to the front of the line. They tell me, oh, your door got moved, gate got moved to that gate over there. You're in the wrong line. They got moved. I'm like, I didn't know that. They said, oh, we announced it over the intercom. I had my headphones on. I was chilling for like 4 hours. So get over to that gate. They're like, yeah, you missed it. You got to catch another flight. I'm like, what? So, it was all the way. My flight was at 7. I had to wait till 7 at night. The next night, so 24 hours for my next flight. So I text that bartender like, yeah, I missed my flight, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, well, you might as well go check out that house since you're going to be here for an extra day. I'm like, oh, okay. So I sleep in the airport for like, a little while, wake up in the morning, early in the morning, because I slept on like some chairs and shit. Go hit the beach for a little bit, kicking it, text the dude whose house it was. He's like, yeah, you can come by, check out the house. So I swing by his house and it was just on some cool shit. Shook hands like, all right, man, he like me. He was cool. This dude was like, he was old. He was like 75 or something like that. Like he was kind of up there, but he smoked weed and drank and listened to like rock and roll. He was a cool guy. So I was like, all right, I could, roommate with this guy, get to Florida. So I go back home, chill, go to work, let like 3, 4, 5 days pass, 6 days pass before I'm contemplating it. Like, is this the move I want to make? Mind you, while I was in Vegas, I just financed a new truck. Well, it wasn't a new truck. It was a 04 Tacoma, lifted, pretty dope. And got a Beagle, a little buddy here around here somewhere. And so I'm contemplating, like, I got a truck, I got a dog. Boom, put in my 2 weeks, said, fuck it. Drove all the way across the country, headed straight to Tampa. Touched down in the middle of a hurricane warning watch. Like there was like 3-4 days after I got here that there was this big ass hurricane that was sweeping through Florida. So I couldn't even look for a job or nothing for like a week because everybody was like boarding up their windows. And I was like, damn, I just got here and we're already on this hurricane shit. But that's, I'm PK. I'm Paul Kelley. That's just kind of how I live my life, a little bit on the edge. So I ended up getting like a little job doing like catering, bartending, weddings and business meetings and things like that, private events, and then ended up working at the Hard Rock here in Tampa. And like I'm a hard worker. Like I like to work. So bartending was kind of even boring to me. Mind you, I'm used to dealing with customers and customer service. I start working at the Hard Rock in Tampa. I didn't realize that they were strictly cocktail servers only. Like I only serve cocktail servers. I didn't have any customers. I was like a back of house employees, like might as well be like a dishwasher or something. And they treated the bartenders so bad over there. It was like we split the tips. Like the cocktail waitresses would tip us 15%. It's supposed to be 20, but they would tip us 15% and then tip the barbacks 5%. So the bar back get 5%, I get 15%. Then I dig back into my 15% and pull out 20% of that and give that to the bar back too. So we were splitting it 60-40. If I walked out with $60, which happened often at this casino, then the bar back would walk out with 40. So it was a 60-40 split. If I walked out with 100, the bar back would walk out with like 60. And then the bar back would be having like 3-4 different bars. So they don't be in the bar all day. They don't do nothing for me all day. I do all the work, all the labor, just give them money just for clocking in. Then just recently, so I'm catching you guys up on where I'm at now. I was there for like the last like 2 years holding it down. I mean, I was the only bartender that'd be getting out on the casino floor, picking up glassware every day, bringing it in, doing all the dishes, getting all my own ice, cutting the fruit, doing all the dishes, like doing everything without the bar back, and then just giving the bar back money. And I tell the bar back something, they want to get like snappy, like, oh, don't tell me, no. Like, you know, getting little arguments with these coworkers and shit. They be writing statements on me all the time, and I never be telling on nobody. I'll tell you myself before I go tell management. Management have to come after me after a while, being like, hey, you got some statements on you, you know, this person, that person, that person. If you don't start writing statements back, you're gonna end up getting fired because you're not defending yourself. So it's kind of looking like you just being the bad person around here. So shit, I said, fuck it. Barback started arguing with me one day. I told him, like, bro, you keep arguing, I'm gonna just get the manager involved with this shit. He said, go ahead. He talk like this too. He sound like he got in his ass all the time. What? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to call the management? Go ahead. Call the management. He had like no bases in his voice. Like this. I was like, he was like this tall, super short, little piece of shit. Fuck it. Call management. Management ended up pulling me from the bar and putting me in a shitty bar forever. That was my best bar that I worked every week. My bad, Nip. And that was my best bar that I worked every week. My only decent bar where I'd make like okay money, and they pulled me from it because I had a problem with management after they just got done telling me that I better say something or else I'm gonna like get in trouble. But I do say something and I get in trouble for saying something. Then a couple weeks later, they tried to tell me like, oh yeah, you were late a couple of times, so you got this many points. If you're late like a couple more times, you're gonna end up getting fired. I'm like, you got barbacks in here who don't do their job every single day. They be in here for 7 of the 8 hours, and you're gonna tell me I'm gonna lose my job? I signed my resignation paper, said I quit, bro. Put in my 2 weeks right there. They said, oh, you want to quit now? Well, we'll honor this immediately. Don't come back to work tomorrow. I'm like, whatever. So that's where I'm at now. I got a little bit of chips stacked up. I'm over here at my house in St. Petersburg, and I'm just posted. Now you finally caught up to where PK has been for the last like 2.5 years after I said that I was going to move and I didn't know where I was going. That's what happened. I became a security system. I was a life insurance agent when I made that video, became a security systems professional, kind of. Then went to Alaska, did that, back to Vegas, bartended, came out here, worked for a catering company, and I moved out. Man, you don't even want to hear about the house that I was living in when I moved here. Dude ended up being like a raging alcoholic. We had this female roommate who this dude was like, he's 75 years old, but was like angry all the time, just like always pissed off. So the girl told me like, hey, if you want to come move with me to this other house, you know, you could just come so you don't got to live with this crazy guy. And I'm in Florida like, hey, well, fuck it. This girl said I could live with her. I'm just, you know, because this guy's, we're gonna end up fighting. He's like 75 years old and he's too fucking angry all the time. I end up moving in with that girl down there. Shit. The house was so ghetto. Having like cockroaches crawling across my face at night. Like, man, it was all bad. The fence in the backyard was all broken down from like the hurricanes and shit. My dog ended up getting out and fucking getting hit by a car while my truck was broken down. Yeah, I went and got an oil change after I got here for like 3 weeks. Went and got an oil change. Then I'm driving my truck like 3 days after I got my oil change. My oil light came on. But I already got another light that comes on my dash that's incorrect. My gas door is open on my dashboard, but it says my gas door is open, but it's not. So I figured I had a bad fuse with my oil. I'm driving like 3 days later. Pow! Blew my piston. I was only here for like 2-3 months. Blew my piston in my truck. So I went like a total like 5.5 months immediately after I moved here with no vehicle. I drove to Florida, lost my engine in my truck immediately. I was Ubering to work every day, costing me like $70 a day to get to work and back. I was only making like $120 at work. So all my money was just going straight to rent, which at that little shitty ass house, I was only paying like $400 in rent. So it was kind of working, but 5 days a week. But yeah, so I eventually got like my truck fixed. I got a girlfriend. We got an apartment. Got out of that apartment and moved here to the apartment was in Tampa. Moved here to St. Petersburg. Got a house over here. Pretty dope little house that I'm in right now. And so now I'm just chilling. I ain't got no job, but I got like, I'm okay. I'm looking for work right now. So if you see my reels, you see that I'm out looking for work and this and that. This is why. It's where I'm at. It's what I got going on. This is not marijuana. It's tobacco for the YouTubers. This is tobacco. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I used to talk shit about people who drink. I'm gonna call them Black Claws because I don't want to get copywritten. But I used to talk shit about people who drank Black Claws. But I finally put down beer because I was like having pot bellies and like man titties. And my girl, she was always drinking like Trulies and white Black Claws and things like that. So I finally picked one up. She got these metal straws she likes to have. So actually, now I sip these and don't drink like Mickey's and OE no more. But it's really helped me out with like not being so out of shape. I've been working out a little bit because 2 years down, I was depressed. I was drinking beer heavy, had like a big old gut. But since I switched up to the seltzers, do a little bit of push-ups, not much. I need to get on my shit more, but Paul Kelley, welcome back to the Me Show. Still want to expose government tyranny, but yeah, I still got my truck, still got my dog. I got a motorcycle. I got a Husqvarna FE 501S. So it's a 500. It's like a dirt bike, street legal dirt bike, pretty tight. I could do like a review on that. I'm gonna be doing like what music artists I listen to and like my top 10 favorite songs from them. So you'll be hearing things from like Nip, other artists, Lil Wayne, 2 Chainz, like Jeezy, YG, artists like that. And I'm gonna do like my top 10 of those songs that I like. So a lot of people say, "Oh, Nip, I didn't really like him as an artist. I don't really care for his music that much." Because you weren't there for the Nip era when he was cracking on the West Coast. And what songs were tight. He put out so much music. No rapper is putting out every song they put out is tight, except for like Lil Wayne. That's why Lil Wayne's the GOAT. And I'm gonna stand by that hard. Lil Wayne is the greatest rapper of all time. Ain't no other rapper comparing to Wayne. I don't care who it is. I'm gonna put the argument up, stand on it all day. But I'm gonna do my top 10 like Nip songs so then people can get a good, visualization and hearing on the type music that Nip put out, because Nip put out a lot of good music. So yeah, look out for that. That's probably coming up. I'm gonna start doing my little top 10 music things. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, so I'm gonna be like reviewing the podcasters I listen to and doing commentary on their commentary, which I think will be kind of like a creative little thing for me to do. And that's what I got going on. 24-minute video. That's about all I wanted to do. PK, the Me Show. I'm back. Paul Kelley, baby. Let's go. Feeling good about this. That's all. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of excited. Like, oh, I'm back on this. I'm gonna start doing like live videos, reading the live chat. Just fuck with me. Hit the like button for me, please. If you made it this far into the video, like you fuck with me. I felt like that we're like probably the same type of people. Just hit the like button. Help me with like the algorithm and shit. If you want to hit the subscribe button, you might as well, because I'm gonna be posting like my daily life type shit, like what I got going on, what I think. I'm 35 years old. I've lived in a lot of places, had a lot of different like relationships and friendships, ups, downs. You know, I experienced like all the different emotions of just, you know, being on your own, handling business, thinking logically. You know, I didn't have a dad or any male influence like growing up. All I had was like my single mom, who was always at work all the time. And even that's where I get moving from. Moving, all this moving that I do, I get it from my mom. I grew up moving with my mom. She was always moving, trying to like finding this, finding like, and that's what I've been doing. And I think I landed kind of where I want to be since St. Pete. So, yeah, I've been sipping a little bit, smoking a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this, stop recording button, because I'm already getting a little twisted. Till the next one.